राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना। 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 जमुना तीर वनचारी। यमुना तीर वनचारी। जय जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। Jamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Kunj Bihari. Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Pravishagacharya Shrotarshata Shri Srimad Srila Abhay Charanaranda Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Thakur Haridas Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyam Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Ganga Devi Ki Jai Unamai Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Tulsi Rani Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Harinama Sankirtana Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai ISKCON BBT Samsthapak Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Gau Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet Nashtapraishva Bhadresho Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Krishne Swadhamo Pagate Dhanamajnanadhibhisaha Kalau Nashtadrishamesha Puranarko Dhunotitaham Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, Chapter 61, entitled Lord Krishna Slays Rukmini. Today we'll be discussing texts 26 through text 40. And you have it on the board. So I think maybe we can't sing all these verses. It will take too much time. But I will read the verses. Tasmin abhyudaye rajan rukmini ramakeshavo puram bhojagatam jagmoho samba pradyumna kadayah. On the joyous occasion of that marriage, O king, Queen Rukmini, Lord Balaram, Lord Krishna, and several of the Lord's sons, headed by Samba and Pradyumna, went to the city of Bhojagata. There's no purport here. But what is this marriage? Who's getting married? Huh? Aniruddha with Rochna, yeah. Okay. And, yeah, so that's all that's said here. Sridhar Swami has brought up actually yesterday a point we heard in passing only, but it bears repeating. Yonam vivahaha tad yonam adharmam janan niti dvisharannam na bhoktavyam dvishantam naiva bhojayet iti loka virudhat aswargyam loka vidvishtam dharmam apyacharen nato iti nishedhat cheti arthaha. That means that this marriage was questionable to begin with. Why? Why was the marriage questionable? Why is it against religious principles? Because marrying direct cousins, we don't do that so much. South India, they do it. It's interesting in this connection that Sanatana Goswami points out that most of these kings were from South India. But anyway, Yonam, that's why it's called Yonam. But the meaning is Vivaha, but they knew that this is not our line. We always have to try to follow our own line. There are many different disciplic successions, and many of them are bona fide, at least 4 of them are bona fide. But we follow what our acharyas do. And we don't worry too much when there's a contradiction between our acharyas and other acharyas. Of course, we want to favor what our acharyas have done. Or in this case, what our forefathers have done, because this is called shishtachara, the behavior that is established by proper personalities, aptas, reliable personalities, authorities, such as forefathers. In fact, in Manusmriti it's stated, well, first of all, in the Taittreya Aranyaka, I think it is, it's described that whatever Manu says is medicine. That's a Shruti endorsement of Manusmriti for your information. But the idea is that in the Manusmriti, when there's any question as to what is dharma and what is not dharma on this level, mundane level, then you should do whatever your forefathers and predecessors have done with the understanding that that is dharma. In other words, what they understood and did as dharma, that you should also do. And Krishna says more or less the same thing in Bhagavad Gita. Anybody know what verse I'm thinking of from chapter 3? Huh? Okay, that will work. Yad yadachariti shreshthas tattadeva tarojanaha. I was thinking of another one in next chapter, actually. He says, Purvaihi purvat kratam taram. You should do whatever they did before you. This is dharma. All right, so there was some question as to whether this is a proper marriage even. Of course, we know this Rukmi did not like Krishna, and he didn't like Pradyumna either for that reason. And so he wasn't really favorable to marry his granddaughter also to Aniruddha. But why did he do it? Because he loved Rukmini like anything. He loved his sister. He wanted to make his sister happy in all respects, so he agreed. Okay. Now there's a second quote that he gives here, Sridhar Swami. Asvargyam loka vidvishtam dharmam abhyacharannato. That, well, others are going to elaborate on that later on. But the idea is that even if something is dharma, if it is despised by the people, then you have to be very careful about how you execute the dharma. That's an interesting topic of discussion, but that's another class, so we'll go on. But Sanatana Goswami says here that on the occasion of this festival of Abhyudaya, everyone, including the young Yadus, went. Pradyumna is mentioned after Samba because he was in a minor position, since Rukmi would worry about his death when he came. Okay. So, Rukmi's death is imminent. We know this if we've read ahead, but we'll go on. Tasmin nivritta udvahe kalinga pramukha nripaha dripta ste rukminam prochur balam akshayar vinirjaya anakshyagno hyayam rajan apitadvyasanam mahat ityukto balam ahuya tenakshayar rukmyadi adivyata. What does adivyata mean? He played. After the wedding, a group of arrogant kings headed by the king of Kalinga told Rukmini, you should defeat Balaram at dice. He's not expert at dice, O king, but still he's quite addicted to it. Thus advised, Rukmi challenged Balaram and began a gambling match with him. Okay. All right, so Sridhar Swami here says, Loka viruddhacharana phalam vaktum aha tasmin niti. In this verse beginning tasmin, he speaks in order to demonstrate what is the result of doing things, of behavior that is despised by people in general. We've already mentioned that. So that's for text 27. And then in text 28, he gives us a gloss of adivyata. Anybody want to hazard a guess? What does adivyata mean? It means kriditavan. Kriditavan. You might get that one. We know kridama, right? Sports. So yeah, he played the game, in other words. Sanatana Goswami adds, these kings were mostly from the south, and they were friends of Rukmini. Harivamsha describes this, Sanyukta Jnatayaschaiva Rukminaha Suradaschaye Ahuta Rukminaha Tepi Tatra Jagmur Narathipaha. The kings who were relatives and friends of Rukmi were called by him, and they came. The proud kings instigated Rukmi against Balaram, who was very strong. Defeat him decisively and take away everything. As a king, Rajan, you have great knowledge of dice. He has no such knowledge. Thus they gambled in the assembly. Srila Prabhupada describes this very nicely in his rendition in Krishna book. He says, Balaram was very fond of sporting activities, but Balaram was not very expert at dice. We know that Balaram is expert at everything. Otherwise, we would not call him Baladev. In every point, he's strong. But for the sake of Leela, he displays this pastime. They didn't invite Krishna. They invited Balaram because they knew with Krishna there's no hope. But Prabhupada writes, in such pastimes, Krishna is the chief hero and Balaram provides additional help. But in this case, Balaram was not able to help so much. That is only for the purpose of Leela, for the Lord's enjoyment. Leela Svadanam. So, he goes on to state here, this is Sanatana Goswami again. Looks like he's quoting from Harivamsha again. I'm going to skip the Sanskrit. But he says, joyfully they entered the auspicious assembly hall with gold pillars, sprinkled with sandalwood water, decorated with flowers. The southern kings, desiring that Rukmi win over Balaram and defeat him, brought gems, pearls, and gold pieces by the thousands. The whole thing was rigged. This gambling is so dangerous. Anytime you gamble, generally you can expect cheating. Like recently I was in America. We're speaking of 4 regulative principles, right? No illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling, no meat eating. So we saw the billboards in, where was it? Either Georgia or maybe it was in Florida. And the people are buying so many illicit drugs in the United States now. That's courtesy the Communist Party of China, of course. But also, they have a taste. They're addicted. And they're buying so many such drugs that people are overdosing because these drugs are deliberately meant to poison people, in fact. But, so the billboard I saw on the highway there, it said, what else is in your drugs? You get it? What else is in your drugs? We're talking about drugs that are available on the street. You don't know. You have no idea. You don't have a laboratory. You don't have the knowledge. Wholly on the basis of trust, you're accepting these things if you buy such merchandise on the black market. And people die. So many of them are dying. So similarly with gambling, we assume that everything's fine, that the institution of gaming, casinos, and all such things are playing by fair rules, but they don't. It's well documented. We don't need to question this. Every single one of these 4 principles that Prabhupada emphasized, unlike practically anyone else in this world, every single one of them has problems attached. No problem attached to anything in this world as much as is attached to the illicit connection between men and women. This is another statement that we find in the Shastra. Or nowadays you can say between the members of the same sex also, they don't even care anymore. They've been so frenzied into this wild, uncontrolled, pseudo-human life that they don't even care for the opposite sex. They'll go for the same sex. And after they're bored with that, they'll find something even more debased. So meat eating, of course, any doctor can tell you that. We don't need to even discuss it. All right, so therefore it's called Kaliyahaspadam. It's a very dangerous game. Sanatana Goswami says the game started, and in the beginning it was destroying their anxiety, because that's the nature of things passionate, isn't it? In the beginning, it's very sweet, isn't it? In the beginning. But hote kya hoga? It becomes very bitter, like poison. These things are there in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna describes everything's up front, no secrets. So the game started destroying their anxiety, but the game was filled with commotion, frightening, and was destructive for those who are stupid or wicked. Durmati nam. You can figure it out on your own. Durmati. Mati means intelligence. Durmati means either you're wicked intelligence or you're just bad intelligence. Either way, you can take your pick. But this habit, this vice is meant for such people only. And we know this. People who run the institutions, governments who allow these institutions, they also know it very well. They target the less intelligent people. Pure exploitation. That's what creates Marxist taste. People get enough of this and then they go for communism thinking that's going to be any better, but you ask anyone from Kerala. They're sick of it there now. So, all right. This text, next, we're in text 29. Shatam sahasram ayutam ramas tatrada depanam tam turukmya jayat tatra kalinga prahasad balam dantan sandarshayan nuchair namarishyat dhalayudaha. So in that match, Lord Balaram first accepted a wager of 100 coins, then 1,000, then 10,000. Rukmini won the first round, and the king of Kalinga laughed loudly at Lord Balaram, showing all his teeth. Like this. Pure spite, pure animosity. He was not joking, friendly mood. This is envy, in fact. So his purpose was to humiliate Balaram. And Lord Balaram, actually Balaram did tolerate it, but hardly he could tolerate it. The Lord will tolerate, but the devotees, it's very hard for the devotees to tolerate. A purport here by BBT editors, Gopi Paranadhana Prabhu, Hridayananda Maharaj, and others. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains that the wagers consisted of gold coins. Lord Balaram inwardly became quite angry when he saw the gross offense of the king of Kalinga. Inwardly. Okay. Nishkranam Laksham. I'm sorry, this is Sridhar Swami on text 30. He says, Nishkanam Laksham Glaham Parnam Kritavan Kaitavam Kapadam. In other words, it's cheating. And the nature of gambling is that the greed increases. If you lose something, the idea is let me get it back. And even we increase the wager through greed only. Very dangerous thing, this gambling. And this pastime implicitly is meant to show that. Kaitavam, the word here is used in the verse, kaitavam. And Sridhar Swami glosses that word as kapatam. Kapata. We all know what kapata means. So, Sanatana Goswami adds, Balaram first accepted a wager of 100 coins, then 1,000, then 10,000 in the gambling match. Tatra. When Rukmi defeated Balaram, Rukmi laughed loudly, conspicuously showing his teeth. Balaram, famous for his prowess with his weapon, the plow, could not tolerate this. He became internally angry. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur repeats, first 100, then 1,000, then 10,000. The word Amarishat means could not tolerate, means that Balaram became inwardly angry when the king of Kalinga laughed and showed his teeth. Viragavacharya also chimes in on this discussion. He says here, the word is used prahasat. That's what means that the king of Kalinga was showing his teeth or smiling. He means upahasitavan. Unmistakably means he was making fun of him. He was ridiculing, mocking Lord Balaram. Not a good idea, as we'll find out. Text 30. Tato laksham rukmya grihnat glaham tatrajayat balaha jitavanaham ityaha rukmi kaitavam ashrataha. Yes, so next Rukmi bet 100,000 coins, which Lord Balaram won. Jai Balaram. But Rukmi tried to cheat, declaring, I'm the winner. What can be more offensive? And he's already angry. Keep this in mind. Sanatana Goswami adds, Rukmi bet 100,000, and that was meant to be given to the loser. Now he was the loser. Sore loser. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, although Balaram won the wager of 100,000 coins, Rukmi tried to cheat, saying that he had won. Text 31. Manyuna, this Manyu means anger. Manyuna kshubhitaha shriman samudra iva paravani jatyaranaksho iti rusha narabodham glaham adade. Shaking with anger, like the ocean on the full moon day, handsome Lord Balaram, his naturally reddish eyes even redder, in his fury, accepted a wager of 100 million gold coins. Sridhar Swami says, Nyarbodam dasha kotir glaham kshubhito Rama adade. Lord Balaram became angry because of the cheating. And what did he wager? 10 crores, 10 crores. So, Sanatana Goswami says, although endowed with a wealth of patience, that's how he interprets Shriman. The BBT translation, if you're listening carefully, you've noticed, what did they translate it as? Beautiful, or handsome, rather. But Sanatana Goswami has a different view. He says Balaram had a wealth of patience, Shriman, that's how he takes it. He was patient. And though not inclined to agitation, sometimes he becomes agitated like the ocean. By nature, he has red eyes. But by the agitation, the eyes become redder. Or, though having red eyes by nature, agitated by great anger, he moved his brows. And this was also beautiful. So he takes it in multiple ways. The Balaram was beautiful when he was reddish eyes moving his eyebrows in anger. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Balaram accepted a wager of 100 million gold coins, Nyarbodam. Text 32, Tam chapi jitavan ramo dharmena chalamashritah chalam. Chalam means the same thing as kapata. Pure cheating, deliberate, intentional cheating. No ifs, ands, or buts. Rukmi jitam manyatre me vadantu prashnika iti. Lord Balaram fairly won this wager also. But Rukmi again resorted to cheating and declared, I have won. Let these witnesses say what they saw. And who is he referring to when he says this? All of his friends. The ones who instigated this, the ones who rigged the whole thing to begin with. This is how cheaters work, isn't it? Yes, we've all experienced. Okay, so this is what's happening now, we'll see. Sridhar Swami, Chalam ashrito rukmi mayajitam ityaha. He says, I won, taking shelter of cheating. Sanatana Goswami, Balaram alone, api, won this wager. Fairly, dharmena. Or, by unfair means, adharmena. Rukmini resorted to cheating. You can take it either way. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur adds, resorting to deceit, Rukmi said, I have won. The witnesses, prashnikaha, can testify to this. And we know who they are already. Text 33. Oh, there's a purport. I missed it. Okay. Yeah, purport by BBT. Rukmi undoubtedly had his friends in mind when he called for the witnesses to speak. But even as his witnesses prepared to aid their cheating friend, a wonderful event took place as described in the next verse. So what is that? Tada braveen nabhovani balena eva jito glaha dharmato vachanena eva rukmi vadati vaimrsha. Just then a voice from the sky declared, Balaram has fairly won this wager. Rukmi is surely cheating. Or lying, it says here. Sanatana Goswami says, since the sinful kings would act as witnesses and tell a lie, a voice spoke from the sky in order to increase Balaram's fury so that he would kill sinful Rukmi. You see, this is how demigods, they assist the Lord in his Leela. Sometimes we see Narad Muni wants to instigate things, right? Sometimes, like when Krishna, his friends had said that he ate dirt, and Mother Yashoda checked in his mouth to see what happened. Who was it who instigated that? Do we know? Yogamaya herself. It was not the Lord. It wasn't his plan. Yogamaya initiated that. And similarly here, this voice, we don't know whose voice, Nabhovani, that out of nowhere, this is what you can do. You can arrange all these things when you're Balaram. But you're never going to become Balaram. Sorry, that spot is already taken. You just have to serve instead. But Balaram is able to do this, so he had his potencies take care of it. He didn't have to think about it. So they came up and they said, yes, this Rukmini is a liar. Balaram won. Since the sinful kings would act as witnesses and tell a lie, the voice spoke from the sky in order to increase Balaram's fury so that he would kill sinful Rukmi. Balaram has won the wager according to the rules, dharmataha, because he made a statement, vachanena, that he would accept the bet. Rukmi speaks falsely. Vishnu Purana also describes this Leela. Actually, for most of the 10th canto pastimes, you will find the same thing is described in slightly different words only in the Vishnu Purana. So now Sanatana Goswami is quoting from Vishnu Purana. I'm going to skip that Sanskrit just to save little time. I do not accept it as true that you have won the wager. If you won, how is it that I did not win? And the voice in the sky spoke as follows. Vijitam baladevena rukmina bhasitam risha amuktvapi vachaha kinchit kritam bhavati karmana. The wager has been won by Balaram. Rukmi speaks falsely. Even if words are not spoken, what is done is accomplished by the action. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur adds to this, when the sinful kings were giving false testimony that Rukmini had won, a voice from the sky proclaimed, Balaram speaks correctly and has won. Rukmini is lying. Very clear now. Text 34. Tam anadritya vaidarabho dushtarajanya choditah sankarshanam parihasam babhashe kalachoritah. Urged on by the wicked kings, Rukmi ignored the divine voice. In fact, destiny itself was urging Rukmi on, and thus he ridiculed Lord Balaram as follows. Now Sanatana Goswami comments, he ridiculed Balaram, who was capable of destroying everything immediately. That's why he uses the name here, Sankarshanam. What does Sankarshana mean? You take everything. And Balaram does this, we know. Or Or he mocked the second member of Swayam Bhagavan's Chaturvyuha. That Sankarsana also means the second expansion. What is the Chaturvyuha? Pehle kaun? Vasudeva, tab Sankarsana, then Pradyumna and his son Aniruddha. So any of them can do this. They're all non-different. Deeparshirevi dashantanamabhyupeto deepayateva vrataheta samana dharma. Samana dharma means they all have the same potency. They may not show it, but they have it. This is the point. Even Narasingha, even Ramchandra, they all have the same potency, but they do not show it. That is for the sake of Leela. Okay. So Sanatana Goswami says he ridiculed. Yeah, we've read this. Okay, so text 35. Naivakshako vidayuyam gopala vanagocharaha. Oh my God. Akshaya divyanti rajano banaischa nabhavadrashaha. He's really getting spicy now, this rascal. Rukmi said, you cowherds who wander about the forest know nothing about dice. Playing with dice and sporting with arrows are only for kings, not for the likes of you. Sanatana Goswami says, Rukmi addressed Balaram in the plural, Yuyam, to indicate that Balaram was an associate of Krishna. See, he's so envious. From ever since Krishna took Rukmini away, he's been envious of the whole family, this Rukmi. He's just seething with envy. So he's every little opportunity, and his envious friends also encouraging, yeah, you can get him. You can't win fighting him, but you can definitely defeat not Krishna, but his brother. And it's just the same, because he's Bade Bhai, no? So, Rukmi addressed Balaram in the plural to indicate that Krishna is included. You are cowherds with simple minds. Wandering in the forest, you do not associate with city people and are devoid of skill. What an offense. Text 36. Rukminaivam adhikshipto rajabhishchopahasitaha. Same word. Kruddha parigraham udyamya jaghne tam nrimna samsadi. Thus insulted by Rukmi and ridiculed by the kings, Lord Balaram was provoked to anger. You see, actually, he's been restraining it for quite some time. But because it's the proper thing to do, and it's because it's the mission he came to this earth to fulfill, now he's showing his anger and giving great pleasure to the devotees. We'll see how. In the midst of the auspicious wedding assembly, he raised his club and struck Rukmi dead. Basically, he made his face disappear into his club. Balaram ki Nrimna samsadi mangala sabhayam. Sridhar Swami gloss is here. This is the word kind of cryptic. Nrimna samsadi means in that auspicious assembly. Sanatana Goswami says, he was mocked in this way, including Krishna as well, Evam, by the kings and instigated by Rukmi. Balaram killed him in the auspicious assembly. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, in the auspicious wedding assembly, Nirna Samsadi Mangala Sahayam, Balaram raised his club and struck Rukmi dead. You can't push the Lord too much. Be careful about your offenses. There's a point at which he will lose patience. It's something we all have to think about soberly, because all of us have the tendency to maintain material attachments, right? And to disobey the orders of the spiritual master, no? So these are the things we have to think of. Just like Shishupal, his other friend, right? Chediraj. 100 times Krishna will, 99 times I mean to say, Krishna will tolerate, but after some time, okay, time for you to go. Sir, you are out of here. So, now the time has come for this rascal, Rukmi. Okay, so text 37. Kalingarajam tarasa grihitva dashame pade dantan apatayat kruddho yo hasad vifratair dvijayehi. So he did some extensive dental work for the king of Kalinga now, Balaram. The king of Kalinga, who had laughed at Lord Balaram and shown his teeth, tried to run away, but the furious Lord quickly seized him on his 10th step and knocked out all of his teeth. More painful than a root canal, more painful than dental implants. All teeth gone. He has to eat kanji for the rest of his life. Balaram ki. Text 38. Anye nirbhinna bapuru shiraso rudirokshitaha rajano tutravar bhita balena parigarditaha. Tormented by Balaram's club, the other kings fled in fear. Big, strong kshatriyas, right? Haughty kings and princes who were a moment ago ridiculing Balaram. Now what are they doing? They're all fleeing in fear. Yudhe chapya palayanam, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. No? This is not the kshatriya's duty. He cannot do this. All of them failed, all gone, fallen from their kshatriya status in a moment like that. And maranarapi atirichyate. For someone who has been honored, like the kshatriyas always are honored, this kind of humiliation is worse than death. Same thing that happened to this rascal Rukmi. Before, he didn't learn his lesson. Now Balaram finished it off. And not only him, but all of his friends. King of Kalinga, he got only 10 steps when Lord Balaram pulled him back and knocked out all of his teeth. So Sanatana Goswami, well, here. Yeah, they fled in fear. Their arms, thighs, and heads were all broken, and their bodies were drenched in blood. They were beat up really badly, because Balaram may not be good at dice, but he's really good with a club. So they got what they had coming to them. Sanatana Goswami says he attacked the other kings with his club. He broke their limbs completely, nirbhinna, from arms to thighs to head, everything shattered. Anyone here ever had typhoid fever? I had it last year. It's really bad. It feels like every bone in your body has been shattered. Very painful. So these big, strong men, they're all humiliated like that, but probably some of them can't even run away because everything is broken and they're soaked in blood. In great fear, they fled. He says, there were successively more serious injuries. So he got some with the legs, some with the arms, and the really bad ones with the head. I guess this is divine judgment, right? Everybody gets what he deserves. Text 39. Mihate rukmini shyale nabravid sadhva sadhuva rukmini balayo rajan sneha bhanga bhayadharihi. Now, what is Krishna doing during all of this? What does he say? When his brother-in-law Rukmi was slain, Lord Krishna neither applauded nor protested, O king, for he feared jeopardizing his affectionate ties with either Rukmini or Balaram, because Balaram is mad, and he's Bade Bhai, and Rukmini is his wife, he has to live with her. So, Sanatana Goswami says here, it was proper that Krishna say that it was good that Rukmini died, since he was evil. But he did not say that. Sometimes, even though something is correct, you have to use your discretion, and you maybe don't want to mention it. We all have to use our intelligence. Where does that intelligence come from? Krishna, within the heart. Or from Srila Prabhupada's books if you're not that advanced. Most of us are not that advanced. So we gain this sense. The yoga school of Patanjali, they have a nice word for this. He calls it dharmendriya, your faculty to assess what is proper thing to do and what is not the proper thing to do. It's considered by them to be one of your senses, actually, dharmendriya. So, anyway. He also did not say that killing a brother-in-law was good or bad, since in saying Rukmi's killing was good, he feared that Rukmini would become angry with him. And William Shakespeare, we may have heard, what does he say about a woman's fury? Hell hath no fury like the wrath of a woman scorned. Any husband knows. All right. So anyway. And he didn't want his affectionate relationship with Rukmini to be broken or to disappear. And if he said that killing Rukmini was wrong, Balaram would be angry with him, and his affectionate relationship with Balaram would be broken. Thus, he did not say anything. If he did not say anything, the affection would continue. Or, bhanga can mean also crookedness, the appearance of anger and affection. Or, bhanga can mean a wave. These are all opinions given by Sanatana Goswami, multiple interpretations. Krishna feared that Rukmini and Balaram would waver in their affection for him. How can I say the opposite to each of them? Therefore he was silent, out of shame, bhayat. Or he remained silent, since Rukmini would immediately become angry at Balaram on realizing that Krishna approved the killing. He didn't want that to happen either. You do not want to offend Balaram. Who represents Balaram, practically, to most of us? Who represents Balaram in our daily lives? The spiritual master, yes. So it's hinted here only. All right. He feared the relationship between Rukmini and Balaram would be broken. In approving the killing, he feared criticism from Rukmini's family and the public, and humiliation of Rukmini. Rukmini was a brother-in-law, Shala. Krishna was able to take away Hari, that's the implication of this name in this verse, Hari. Krishna was able to take away the breaking of affection. He could create joy because of his skill. Previously, when Krishna disfigured Rukmini, she spoke slightly harsh words to Krishna. So what would she say to him now when Rukmini was actually killed by Balaram? So Krishna has to be so careful. Shukdev Goswami addresses Parikshit with excitement. Shukdev Goswami is very excited narrating this pastime. That's why he calls out Rajan, hey Rajan. It is exciting. It's a wonderful pastime. Okay, text 40, last shloka. We just have time. Tato niruddham saha suryayavaram ratham samaropya yoyuh krishasthalim ramadayo bhojakatadacharhaha siddha kilartha madhusudhanashrayaha. All of them have taken shelter of Madhusudan. The descendants of Dashartha, headed by Lord Balaram, seated Aniruddha and his bride on a fine chariot and set off from Bhojakata for Dwarka. Where is Bhojakata? It's in Vidarbha. Where is Vidarbha? Maharashtra. And originally Rukmini was from which place? Kaundinyapura. Also in Vidarbha, Maharashtra. But why did he leave Kaundinyapur and went to Bhojakata? Because he was humiliated. He had taken a vow. If I don't dispatch this rascal Krishna and marry my sister to Shishupal, then I'll not come back. Kshatriyas are fond of making these declarations. And he had to eat his words. He didn't come back to Kaundinyapur. Instead, he founded his own place in called Bhojakata. It's near Amaravati in Maharashtra. For all these Marathis here, you know where it is. So this is what's happening. So they set off from Bhojakata and went for Dwarka. Dwarka is in faraway Gujarat, quite a distance. Having taken shelter of Lord Madhusudan, they had fulfilled all their purposes. So Balaram fulfilled his purpose, Krishna fulfilled his purpose, the girl fulfilled her purpose, Aniruddha fulfilled his purpose. This is not Aniruddha's first wedding, mind you. We're going to hear in the next chapter. What happens after this? Usha. That was illicit. The Lord. Of course, when the Lord does it, it's not illicit sex. But it was scandalous. All these things just to increase the flavor of the pastimes. Balaram has his gopis, and Balaram also has his queens. And usually the queens we see, it's Swakiya Rasa, but in this case, at least in the beginning, it was Parakiya Rasa. But I don't want to spoil that plot. That's in the next chapter. Anyway, so Aniruddha came, Pradyumna came, all of them came back to Dwarka. Okay, so then there's a purport here. Even though Rukmini was very dear to all the Dasharadhas, her brother Rukmi had constantly opposed and insulted Krishna ever since Rukmini's wedding. Thus, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains, the associates of Lord Krishna could hardly lament Rukmi's sudden demise. They were not losing much sleep about it. They were not crying about it very much. Thus ends the purports of the humble servants of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, to the 10th canto, 61st chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Lord Balaram Slays Rukmi. So Sanatana Goswami adds here that they placed the couple on the best chariot with music and singing. That's with the indication of some aropya. For Balaram particularly, all purposes were fulfilled because everyone approved of the killing of a wicked person, and Krishna maintained silence. What is silence? Maunam sammati lakshanam. If you say nothing, then it's tacit approval. So this is how it's taken. The word Madhusudan, killer of Madhu, indicated that for Balaram, that Krishna approved of his killing Rukmi, just as Krishna killed Madhu with cleverness because of his receiving a boon. That's another story. So Balaram cleverly killed Rukmi while appearing to be unskilled at dice. Even though appearing to be unable to compete in dice, still he accomplished his means. That's implied here. Okay, lost the sound. Daivat. Okay, so we're going. Thank you all very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. You can't. Well, Vanaswami has published some of them, English. The Sanskrit is there. Yeah, if you understand Sanskrit, I have a file I can give you.
I have the Sanskrit file I have.
Yeah, so that's it.